Hello everyone, welcome to EthioNews, your go-to spot for the latest and most important news from Ethiopia. Whether it's breaking headlines or updates on current events, we've got you covered. Prime Minister Dr. Abiy Ahmed faces questions from House of People's Representatives. Prime Minister Dr. Abiy Ahmed is currently responding to a range of questions from members of the House of People's Representatives. Key issues raised include concerns over the rise of armed rebel groups and the government's efforts to halt their destructive activities across Ethiopia. Lawmakers also highlighted the critical transitional period Ethiopia is experiencing as it seeks to build on its past successes in achieving lasting peace and overcoming poverty. They asked about the specific challenges facing the nation during this time. Other questions focused on the government's plans to improve living standards for public employees and the ongoing efforts to address housing shortages in urban areas. In addition, representatives inquired about the leadership and accountability in implementing the national dialogue in the Tigray region, aiming for results that benefit all Ethiopians. Further discussions addressed the government's claims of delivering better peace than before, requesting evidence of progress and initiatives taken to maintain peace and security. Lastly, questions were raised about the nation's healing process from past wounds, and what measures are in place to protect and sustain this recovery. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed is expected to provide detailed responses and explanations regarding the government's progress on the 2017 plan. Meanwhile, it is anticipated that the federal government's 2018 budget will also be approved during this session. Ethiopia launches first-ever trial transmission of electric power to Tanzania via Kenya. Ethiopia has begun, for the first time, the trial transmission of electric power to Tanzania through Kenya. Mr. Moggs Mekonnen, Director of Corporate Communications at Ethiopian Electric Power, told Gazeta Plus that several months have passed since the power supply agreement between Ethiopia and Tanzania was signed. Under this agreement, a transmission line capable of transporting up to 200,000 megawatts has been constructed on Ethiopia's side. Currently, 200 megawatts of electricity are being transmitted through this line, which can handle additional power without requiring further expansion. Mr. Moggs emphasized that the project remains in the trial phase, with formal electricity sales yet to commence. Meanwhile, Dr. Engineer John Matiwo, Managing Director of Kenya Electricity Transmission Company, announced on social media that the electricity transmission has been successfully achieved. Women detained for alcohol consumption at night in Gambella's Dima Warida over cultural concerns. The Women and Social Affairs Office of Dima Warida in the Gambella region has reported the detention of women found drinking alcohol in a hotel at night, an act considered contrary to local cultural and religious values. W/Ro Nikaha Akwe, head of the office, told the Warida government communication team that the women were discovered at a nightclub around 10 p.m. in Dima town, engaging in activities deemed inappropriate according to religion and culture. Following discussions with local police, the women were taken into custody. The office also recalled a previous incident where 9 underage boys, all under 18, were caught drinking alcohol at night, detained by police, fined, and later released with a warning. The presence of the women at the nightclub after 10 p.m. was treated with seriousness due to its violation of cultural and religious norms. Currently, the 4 detained women remain under police investigation, and following the legal process, they will be released after serving any applicable penalties, according to a report by Daegu Journal. Ethiopia urges urgent global economic reform at International Sustainable Finance Conference in Spain. At the 4th International Conference on Sustainable Development Finance held in Seville, Spain, Ethiopia has called for urgent global action to reform economic governance. Ambassador Samuel Issa, Ethiopia's Deputy Permanent Representative to the United Nations, emphasized that the Seville Consensus offers a vital opportunity to tackle global debt burdens, climate change setbacks, and the growing development gap between nations. He highlighted unprecedented political will and collaboration among the G77, African group, least developed countries, and supportive partners from the global north. Urging this momentum be translated into concrete action, the ambassador outlined 3 key opportunities: coordinated reform, strong leadership from the global south, and accelerated partnerships for development. He also called for time-bound commitments, accountability, and a permanent UN-led process to sustain progress. A high-level Ethiopian delegation, led by Minister of Agriculture Dr. Jerma Amenti, is attending the conference from June 24 to 26, 2025. Dr. Jerma showcased Ethiopia's agricultural transformation and shared best practices to ensure food security, reflecting on challenges faced since the Addis Ababa Action Agenda was adopted over a decade ago, noting a staggering $4 trillion global financing gap needed to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. He stressed that the Seville Agreement must address this critical challenge. Ethiopia's message to the conference: achieving the 2030 SDGs requires a fair and inclusive global financial system supported by cooperation from all nations. Over 7,500 Ethiopian children await heart disease treatment, medical director reveals. Dr. Eliezer Haile, medical director of the Ethiopian Children with Heart Disease Data Center, has disclosed that more than 7,500 children are currently on the waiting list for treatment at the center. Among these patients, over 2,000 suffer from congenital heart disease, a condition present from birth. Dr. Eliezer highlighted the crucial role of donations in supporting the center's mission, noting that all essential medical supplies are imported from abroad. He explained that critical supplies are purchased based on the child's weight and cannot be reused, which greatly increases both the cost and risk involved in treatment. The cost of these vital items, including heart valves, specialized machines, unique medications, and surgical equipment, is extremely high. For those wishing to help, Dr. Eliezer encourages support through the number 6710, either individually or as groups by visiting patients, sponsoring children fully or partially, or donating necessary medical supplies as listed by the center. Ethiopian Airlines launches new passenger flights to Porto, Portugal. Ethiopian Airlines has officially launched passenger flight service to Porto, Portugal. The group's CEO of Ethiopian Airlines, Mr. Mesfin Teso, along with the ambassador of Portugal to Ethiopia, Luisa Fragoso, inaugurated the new route today at the Skylight Hotel in Addis Ababa. Mr. Mesfin announced that Ethiopian Airlines will operate 4 weekly flights to Porto starting immediately. This new passenger service is a significant connection between Africa and Europe, enhancing trade, tourism, and cultural exchange. Ambassador Luisa Fragoso highlighted that the direct flights will strengthen commercial and diplomatic ties between Ethiopia and Portugal. Currently, Ethiopian Airlines serves 26 destinations across 17 European countries and operates flights to 130 cities in 82 countries worldwide. System disruption affects digital registration services in Addis Ababa sub-city offices. The Addis Ababa City Administration Civil Registration and Residency Services Agency has informed Tikva Ethiopia that, starting June 1, 2025, a technical issue has disrupted system access at several sub-city offices. The disruption mainly affects individuals who previously completed digital registration, children under 12, and those served through legal representatives, as these groups are currently not accommodated by the system. However, the agency confirmed that other services remain accessible to residents despite the issue. Director General Mr. Yonas Alamehu explained that not all 119 sub-cities were affected. The most impacted are densely populated sub-cities newly on board for digital registration, such as Yeka, Nifas Silk, and Akaki, where walk-in services and new registrants have caused high system pressure. He said that sub-cities that completed digital enrollment earlier are operating smoothly, automatically retrieving resident data without requiring new photos or re-enrollment. Mr. Yonas assured that once digitally registered, residents face little to no service interruptions. The current delays primarily impact new registrants whose data has yet to enter the system. The agency expects to resolve the issue by midday tomorrow and is even working on Sundays to clear the backlog. He added that those transitioning from walk-in to the digital system are experiencing the most delays. The agency expressed sincere apologies to affected residents and emphasized its commitment to restoring full service as quickly as possible. Housing initiative underway for National Defense Force members in Addis Ababa. Efforts are underway to provide residential housing for members of Ethiopia's National Defense Force. Field Marshal Birhanu Jula, Chief of the Defense Forces, recently visited the joint military residential housing project currently under construction in Nifas Silk Lafto sub-city. Brigadier General Dirage Majersa, Executive Director of the Defense Forces Foundation, reported that construction is progressing rapidly and with high quality. He emphasized that the project is being carried out with strong collaboration and commitment, employing modern construction technologies that meet today's standards. Brigadier General Dirage highlighted that addressing the housing needs of military personnel plays a vital role in enhancing their performance and efficiency in fulfilling their duties. He affirmed that this initiative to provide housing for Defense Force members will be strengthened and continue without interruption. Lieutenant Colonel Wubishet Chekel, Defense Forces online media chief producer, told Fana Digital that once construction is complete, the houses will be distributed by lottery to eligible military personnel and civil workers who meet the required criteria. Ethiopian Football Federation press briefing ends abruptly amid controversy over Premier League decisions. A press briefing held to communicate the Ethiopian Football Federation's recent decisions ended abruptly just minutes ago, when President Isaias Jira concluded with the brief statement, "I'm done." The statement left many questions unanswered and failed to provide clear or constructive responses to the football community, especially the clubs affected by the ongoing controversy. Legal clarity was lacking, and tension continues to rise surrounding the Ethiopian Premier League, particularly involving Walaita Dicha and Sidama Coffee clubs. Key legal issues remained unaddressed, and not all parties had their concerns fully heard. During the briefing, President Isaias Jira stated, "They have the right to go to FIFA. They claim this law has been violated. If that's how they raised it to FIFA, we'll respond accordingly. If the question is, why did the number increase to 20 clubs? They can go to FIFA. FIFA can give advice, but it doesn't have a binding law that says, keep it to this number. If a club says it no longer wants to participate in the Premier League, that's fine. I'll say it again, they have the right to leave. If someone says, I've been wronged by Ethiopian football, they can escalate the issue to the governing body, even the government authority. The National Federation cannot impose a salary cap on a single individual, but it can enforce following a salary scale. If the money isn't returned, the law will be enforced. Once passed, the law becomes applicable. The controversy remains legally and ethically unresolved as the football community awaits further developments. Thanks for tuning in to Channel Name.